Mumbai, which seems to be the city of dreams, also is a city which is abuzz with young entrepreneurs who are trying to make their mark in the world. Now, our first story of the day also happens to be one from Mumbai about interior designing. Before that, interior designing is an aspect which touches every little part of our lives, ranging from technological innovations all the way to traditional Feng Shui. Now, interior designers can design just about anything, ranging from residences to office buildings to hotels, so on and so forth. Now it's time for us to meet Miss Amrapali Bhogle, who is an enterprising interior designer, and she owns a small little outfit called Northlight in Mumbai. Here, take a look.
Amrapali Bhogle is the founder and owner of the interior designing firm Northlight, a company catering to architecture, interior designing and construction services in India. With the motto of stability, growth and consistency, Amrapali has pioneered Northlight and formed a young and energetic team based in Mumbai.
Interior design is basically about maximizing spaces, making the most use of spaces, making it aesthetically appealing and making it as attractive as possible. It is also about increasing one's status. It is about changing lifestyles. Our firm is based on a very open door policy. We take inputs also from the lowest level of staff, because we've had the same team right through the last 8 years.
She has set high standards of leadership and commitment. Her dynamic personality and sincere focus have helped Northlight develop and maintain an excellent track record of architectural planning, interior designing and construction spanning all across Maharashtra over the past 5 years.
While designing the whole space, yes, I do supervise myself. We have our own in-house team that looks after the designing, the execution and the customer service as well. But we have a slightly different mode of how we take things about. We visit the place, we visit the client's place, we visit the sites, and we have a separate session wherein we take inputs from the clients as well. We have a questionnaire wherein we ask little details about the client's preferences, their views about their space, their dreams about their dream home, their dream office, their dream showroom, and we take note of little things like ergonomics, what the residents, what the inhabitants of that space would be most comfortable with, right from their dexterity, whether they are right-handed or left-handed. We go into details such as whether the inhabitants of the space are asthmatics, because that's something that is required.
Northlight includes architectural design, landscaping, interior design, decoration and execution, Vastu Shastra, facade design, structural design, building constructions, maintenance, graphic visualization and technical drafting.
8 years back, interior designing wasn't really in. I mean, in those times, people used to prefer to hand over their jobs to plain contractors, uneducated contractors who did not even know the basics, the science, the technology behind what they were doing. Not even the basic plaster mixing ratios, cement sand ratios. So it was a bit difficult at that time to convince people that they needed someone technically qualified to do the job, because they thought even the kadiya, the basic mason would do it as well for them. So why would they need someone, why would they need a professional for that? So that's how I began with creating my own team, because I knew that it would have been very difficult for me to set up as an interior designer in the field without having my own team to do the job for my client. So I started out with a team of 4-5 people, a mason, a carpenter, a plumber, an electrician, and whatever services that were needed, the POP man. And that's how we started. It was a very small team initially, and I would just give them my designs and start up the work. But at that time, I myself acted as the supervisor. I stood at sites 24/7. I supervised them myself and got jobs done. I spent my entire childhood in a very modest place. It was a very small house. Sitting lonely in the house, I used to think about how I could modify this space, this particular corner, and that's how the initial interest in interior design began. But as I passed HEC Science, my grades did permit to get me into engineering, construction engineering, and that was the logical thing to follow, because getting a technical base for whatever profession you get into is very important. So that's how I got into construction engineering. After passing the degree, I took a short-term course in interior design. It was very important because I had needed to have a short brush up on whatever basics we had been covered in engineering. And soon thereafter, I began my business. I started up my own firm, Northlight.
Although Amrapali-led Northlight has successfully completed offices and commercial projects too, their focus is mainly on residential interiors. Their work profile in residential sector includes flats, studio apartments, bungalows, holiday homes and row houses.
My first project was a residential project, and the clients were my relatives. They talked to me first, and somehow I could convince them through my honesty that I could do the job. They were convinced by the technical knowledge and the market knowledge that I had at that time. So they entrusted me with the entire turnkey project. We did the project for a mere 6 lakhs at that time, 8 years back. But at that time, it was a big amount for us. It did matter, believe it or not. I did it for a profit of 1,000 rupees at that time. I had reserved quite a bit for myself in the beginning, but I ended up spending all of my profits just to improve the quality and the looks of that space. The client benefited in turn. Profits don't matter. Your portfolio does in the long run.